are playing video for TV viewers. I'll be describing it blow by blow. It's online at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Uncle Murder is the name of the song, and it deals with a Eric Garner tribute that came out about a week before the two New York police officers were executed. And it basically calls verbally but also visually for the execution of police in New York. And guess who funded it? This is on record. Guess who funded it with a $1.5 million grant to produce this and other little jewels? The New American Magazine reports with links to the funding. We'll click on the link and actually go to the New American. Justice Department grants linked cop killing rap video. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are uniquely qualified, in my humble view, to speak to this from a non-biased position. I've made 4 films on the police state. I've written a book on it. I've warned about everything that's now unfolding. And we've warned about the attempt to start a civil war in this country, starting with race war. And now it's starting to happen, and in almost every case, the Justice Department is sock puppeting the entire operation. Let's be clear. There are a lot of good police around this country. There are also a lot of bad departments and bad police. But you cannot scapegoat the police in general and make them the reason the government's corrupt and the reason there's problems in this country. And then have a bunch of scum of the earth. I mean, I've looked at these Facebook and Twitter profiles. Scum of the earth, gangster, criminal type folks that promote the knockout game and all other forms of racial assault, who are the equivalent of black Ku Klux Klan members, in my view, out there saying kill white people or kill police. It is outrageous. And it's going to get a lot worse, ladies and gentlemen, and it's going to cause major racial division in this country. We need to come together, as Martin Luther King said, not dealing with race, but with what we stand for collectively. Freedom, private property, due process, right to self-defense, family, right to religion, freedom, prosperity, capitalism. As capitalism goes out the window and get this crony system, yeah, our country's falling apart. And sure, the face of government and the face of a lot of revenue generation and problems sometimes is the police. But they already set the police state up. Now they want us to have a civil war. How about we don't have it? Now, you notice I've been harping on this for 6 months. 2 weeks before Brown was killed, I put an emergency alert out, openly saying, get ready for them to stir things up big time. It's about to happen, because I could see all the preconditioning. Well, that's happening right now. Now, that's not all I'm going to cover today, but we have video and audio. Deck the halls with rows of dead cops. Ferguson, protesters. They caught one of the top liberal protesters who claims he's a peacenik. He confessed to torching businesses. I mean, this is not the face of a revolution we need. We need a revolution of ideas, not a revolution of a bunch of leftist trust fund kids, white kids, out trying to lead blacks to murder police and stuff.
The average person's life is filled with unexpected challenges. Unlock the energy it takes to defeat these daily beasts with super male or super female vitality, specifically designed to assist the body in regulating proper hormone balance to create superior vitality in males and females. Supercharge and conquer your world at InfoWarsLife.com or call 1-888-253-3139.
The government's Department of Homeland Security is buying up loads of ammo. At the same time, they're restricting civilians' rights to own and purchase firearms. Can you put 2 and 2 together? Infidel Body Armor can stop every round, including hollow points and .308 sniper rounds, is reasonably priced and fully legal. But for how long? Go to InfidelBodyArmor.com, spelled INFIDEL bodyarmor.com. Infidel Body Armor. just won't quit.
Live from Austin, Texas, broadcasting worldwide, it's Alex Jones.
I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, on this final Sunday broadcast of 2014, final Sunday broadcast of 2014. It is the 28th day of December 2014. I'll be back, of course, tomorrow with the weekday transmission, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. And you can find us, of course, at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. You can find the nightly news at InfoWarsNews.com, weeknights, 7 o'clock Central on Roku, Boxy, and many cable and TV systems around the country as well. But this will be the final Sunday transmission. We come in live on Sundays, 4 to 6 p.m. with a 2-hour abbreviated transmission. We have the weekday 3-hour broadcast. I'm here to tell you we're not going to be talking about Airbus. AirAsia Airbus goes missing flying out of Malaysia. With 162 aboard, bad weather forced suspension of search. Pilot asked to deviate from flight plan. Missing plane is third Malaysian-linked incident this year. The famous one that disappeared around Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean. Then, of course, there was another one that shot down over Ukraine, and now this one. Carriers have nearly flawless safety record. AFP has a live feed report. That's from DrudgeReport.com. And it's interesting to cover, and we have it on Infowars.com, too. I'm not saying it's not an interesting, important news story. It's just compared to all the other stuff I've got, we're not going to obsess over it today. But I know this. Air travel in and out of Malaysia is getting really weird statistically in the actuaries. Articles have been written about it. Why is there so much air disaster associated with that country? It's very suspicious. And then each one of the cases is more suspicious. Like who shot it down or why did it disappear? And now what happened with this one? And the media will be conspiracy theorists all day and all week long because they love a mystery. Well, I love a mystery as well if, and that's a key word, if it really has important import on my daily life and your daily life, in my view. Now, some people may think this is super incredibly important, and maybe it is. It's just we're not going to be basically drooling over this all day. What we are going to be covering is this. They have had Lizard Squad, that is the confirmed marquee top 2 or 3 hacking groups in the world, come out providing data and proof on Sky News out of the UK, that's Fox TV UK, that they carried out the attacks on Sony and others, and that it had nothing to do with North Korea. Now, look, if North Korea wants to censor us and tell us what to think and what to do, I say go see the film to challenge them. They're also admitting that they've hacked into Xbox and so many other systems. But when Sony is clearly involved, behaving and acting like it was North Korea just to sell tickets, it's a fraud. The real censorship is by Communist China. Scores of movies, Red Dawn, the remake, and others, have been shelved for up to a year while they're re-edited to cut out criticism of Communist China or their government. See, that's meat and potatoes, public stuff we should deal with. Exodus, Deadline Live Hollywood reports, will not be released in the UAE. Ban follows similar moves in Egypt and Morocco. Ridley Scott's Exodus. I love Ridley Scott's Gladiator, so I do intend to try to see it. Poland has incredible action, not very good acting, but I'm going to go see it if I get time to. But there you go, censorship there. Pakistan officials furious over Homeland, the TV show Homeland that implies they're terrorists in Pakistan. So that government's upset. See, all of this Sony talk, placating North Korea about the interview has only encouraged all these other censors around the world to try to make us live like they do. But think about the UN and all these UN internet treaties and CISPA and SOPA that are being reintroduced next week. They'll be reintroduced on the 1st. That's Thursday. They're going to reintroduce all the internet censorship bills in the name of fighting what happened to Sony. See? Problem, reaction, solution, false flag, written all over it. Now, that's not the most important news in the stack today. It's just something interesting because there is an attack on free speech, implying that free speech causes all the problems in the world. Well, most hellholes around the world don't have free speech. I'll just put it at that and leave it at that. I want to get into the economy. U.S. economic recovery finally taking hold, CNBC reports. We're going to break down how that is a fraud. I would love the economy to take hold and to get better. I live in this country. But Russia's imploding, China's imploding, Japan is imploding, the EU's in trouble, the Middle East is in turmoil, serious economic problems, Latin America is in a major recession to depression. All the real economic numbers, in fact, I'll just cover this now before I get to the news. All the other economic numbers. How about 101 million people not in the workforce in this country of 300 million people, 320 million? How about 50 million on food stamps? How about another 45 million on disability? You add it all together, half the country doesn't work. And they're raising taxes on the other half that does. So here's the numbers. U.S. economic recovery finally taking hold. That's using cooked stats on inflation and employment. I mean, everybody knows those are fake. When they use old 1980s numbers, John Williams and Shadow Stats, top economist, we got like 25% unemployment, 10% inflation. But it's not evenly distributed. U.S. consumer spending rises solidly. Well, yeah, because it was just Christmas. China's trade growth seen falling short of target in 2014, CNBC. Japan approves $29 billion stimulus plan, impact in doubt. Russia forecasts economic slump as bailed out bank gets more funds. Meanwhile, the semi-euphoria over declining jobless rate, one nagging statistic persists. Labor force participation in the job market continues to slide. Since the Great Recession of 2008, 7 million Americans have dropped out of the labor force. So how is the economy good when there's less people working than at any time in modern history? Because they're printing fiat money, and the world still accepts it. But not for long, and they can't hide all the inflation. And when it finally goes, when it finally collapses in, Katie, bar the door. And you've probably heard, let's not exaggerate, 50, 60 economists with good track records come on this broadcast and break all this down. Price plunge puts oil patch jobs at risk in the U.S., dipping into the auto equity, and just goes into all people getting into so many of these payday loans and mortgages on their cars, and just it's debt. Our society is driven by debt. And until we become net savers again, we will wake up homeless on the continent our forebears built. We're also going to get into chaos in the Alps as massive snowfall traps 15,000 cars. Some areas have up to 10 feet of snow as they see